Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, March 18, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any other related questions that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Ben No. He's actually a meteorologist at the National Institute of Water and Atmospheric Research in New Zealand, and from time to time he makes some very accurate futuristic posts about the Atlantic hurricane season. And he just made one today. He states, hints about hurricane season 2024. Early signs are the Atlantic will be busy. Velocity potential helps us to understand how the atmosphere will respond to oceanic temperature anomalies. In this animation, brown colors indicate suppressed convection or thunderstorm activity and sinking air, while green colors indicate enhanced convection and rising air. More specifically, the green colors indicate upper air divergence. Air spreading apart in the upper levels of the atmosphere is necessary for thunderstorm activity. This also supports converging air at the surface. And this is what he's talking about. And look at where we have all of the greens that represent the rising air that would mean thunderstorms. And look at the timestamp right there. From April into May, June, July, and into the peak of hurricane season near to August right there. He also states that as El Nino fades and warm water across the Pacific is replaced by cool water, sinking motion is expected to be widespread. At the same time, rising air is forecast to focus over the extremely warm waters of the Atlantic, Africa, and the Western Indian Ocean, especially from June onward. This may lead to a fast start to hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin and above average amounts of activity during summer. The season officially starts in June. I find these plots to be very helpful toward understanding low frequency atmospheric forcing patterns. What they don't describe is the high frequency climatic variability that can occur throughout a month. Hopefully, this has increased your awareness around the weather variable velocity potential. So this is quite concerning. We're going to be having a lot more rising air across the main development region and Africa. We do see the browns across the Caribbean, but we know all of what's coming off of Africa is usually pushing from east to west, so it's definitely going to be making it towards the Caribbean, despite the sinking air that we're expected to receive around that time. So it's quite concerning, especially considering the very warmer than average sea surface temperatures across the entire Atlantic basin, especially the main development region. And we know all of that very warm water is what fuels these tropical waves into developing into tropical depressions and storms, not to mention hurricanes. So it's just a waiting game at this point. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Remember, he made tweets just like these back in early 2020 and they actually verified. So he's a very credible source of information. Alright, so it's been quite dry for the past weekend across Jamaica. For the most part, we see more of an east-south-easterly flow across the island, more so partly cloudy skies, especially across the south coast of Jamaica. Sunny weather, very warm weather. We see some partly cloudy conditions to wrap up the day across western Jamaica. Right now, nothing at all, and the Doppler radar images confirm that. Nothing to see here. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on Tuesday, the temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18th on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we see Jamaica embedded in some orange colors. As we can see, the orange colors are represented right here on the key on the right hand side. They represent up to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And the normal temperatures for the month of March across Jamaica are about 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 87.3 degrees Fahrenheit It's about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So if we're going to be receiving those oranges that mean 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, you should be anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius that's expected. As relates to the dry air map, we can see the dry air is represented by what we see at the key at the bottom. The yellows, the oranges, reds, and whites within those reds. We do see dry air across the Caribbean, including Jamaica, with those yellows and oranges. But we do see the most intense dry air right there off the coast of Africa. We have those darker shades of reds and those whites. And all of that is associated with the Saharan dust. We can see those darker shades of browns closer to Africa right there. While we have the lighter shades of browns, we do indeed have some Saharan dust across the Jamaica area, but it's not that robust, it's not even that noticeable, not necessarily triggering asthma or sinusitis in anyone at this time. And we see that it's plaguing majority of the southern main development region, the southern and eastern Caribbean, the southern Caribbean in general, not to mention northern South America. And we're indeed grateful that it's not that vigorous of a plume where we see those darker shades of browns. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, what we see surrounding the island for Tuesday, as you can see by the key on the bottom right, anywhere from those lighter shades of blues to the darker shades of blues, so anywhere from 0.5 meter to 1.5 meter wave heights is what's expected, because the winds are going to be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 10 to maybe close to 20 knots, and whatever comes off of the sea from the east is going to be entering sections of eastern Jamaica, maybe St. Thomas and Portland as usual, and then exiting across the western portion of the island. Who knows, it might pile up again across the very areas that we've been seeing it for the past week. Section of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. That's where we see those lighter shades of blues, or those darker shades of blues, as we can see by the key on the bottom right, that signal where we're not going to be having those strong winds. So all of that air might pile up and make way for some afternoon rainfall, and with that upper level wind shear coming in from the west southwest, it could favor more of that rainfall across sections of northern Jamaica during the afternoon hours. Taking a look at the rainfall forecast, this map is showing 1 a.m. on the Euro model, this map is showing 1 a.m. on the GFS model. And what do both maps show? We're actually looking for a consensus, we're looking for agreement with what both maps are showing. We do see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of eastern St. Thomas and Portland. So we could be in for some more rainfall across those spots later on, midnight tonight. We know 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is actually 12 a.m. Jamaica time. So that's midnight tonight. Skipping ahead to about 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time. We do still see the blues that represent rainfall across eastern Jamaica still plaguing those spots. Then finally, this is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. Look at where we see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes in Jamaica. So western St. Elizabeth, sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, sections of western Portland might get in on the action. The Euro is showing more robust blue shades across those very spots that we just mentioned. Some blues across the southern and eastern portions of the island. But we're trying to see what we have in terms of consensus, and we do see the consensus, we do see the agreement with northern and western Jamaica feeling the brunt of whatever is to come on Tuesday afternoon. So there's definitely going to be rain, more so rainfall across northern and western parishes, not so much across southern Jamaica. So I'm more to believe what the GFS is showing than the Euro. More the Euro can get out of hand at times. And we're actually seeing the consensus with the rainfall across eastern Jamaica on both the Euro and the GFS maps in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Not saying that it's going to be raining from now up on all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be receiving that rainfall. And we see the consensus section of northern and western Jamaica. GFS showing up to 0.17 of an inch of rainfall across the east. Euro showing up to 0.26 of an inch of rainfall across the east. Northern Jamaica up to 0.33 of an inch of rainfall there. Either way, we're in the month of March. We're in our dry season still. We usually receive up to 87.15 millimeters of rainfall across the island for this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that we're experiencing at this time. Yes, we're definitely experiencing a drought. If you noticed how brown the grass has been, the hills have been brown, definitely a drought taking place with the lack of rainfall. It's expected, it's the dry season. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we don't see much taking place across the Caribbean at all. We do see some clouds associated with a cold front right there across the southeastern portion of the United States. And if we actually take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, if these images will actually load, are they gonna load? Alright, doesn't look like it. Alright, so if we actually take a look at the Barbados radar, we don't see much taking place, just like what we stated. Not much happening at all. Just some hit or miss sprinkles, especially to the north of Barbados, pushing from east to west. Some of that affecting sections of Tobago today. Section of Trinidad as well getting in on the action. Alright, here we have the Doppler radar images for the northeastern Caribbean. See, nothing much taking place at all. Quite clear and dry, not much greens that represent rainfall at all. Even the wider view of Doppler radar images aren't showing much. Some rainfall across sections of western Guyana, section of, let's see, central Colombia, not to mention the waters to the west of Florida associated with that cold front. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, majority of the Caribbean should be experiencing those oranges that represent anywhere from 2 to 4 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. So try to stay hydrated so that you're not that drastically affected. And for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, this is where the Saharan dust will be. Some browns right there across the southern Caribbean, the southeastern Caribbean, mainly the Windward Islands getting in on the action, not to mention northern South America. But we're indeed glad that we're not getting on that vigorous plume of dust that we see right there across Africa, as is signaled by those darker shades of browns. As related to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we do see more so in the way of blues plaguing the Caribbean. That's representative of anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. We do see some purples in there, right there to the south of Haiti, to the north of Colombia, to the east of the Caribbean. And that's because the winds are kicking up, where we see those yellows maybe averaging anywhere from 25 to 30 knots. In the greens, we know those are representative of anywhere from 10 to 20 knots. And we see the general direction across the Caribbean coming in from the east or the east southeast. As it relates to the rainfall forecast, not much is in the way for rainfall across the eastern Caribbean at all. We do, however, see some rainfall in store for sections of western Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica. We see some rainfall as well in store for Guatemala, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula, sections of Cuba, the Bahamas as well. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.